As a user, you can copy mechanical services mechanically and electrically up through the building. It's the same technique in each program. So here we are in ductwork. So if I'm wanting to copy a whole load of services from one floor to another that are identical, I go to the edit menu and select copy services. We get a dialog box where you're copying the floor you're copying from and the floor you're copying to. So selecting the ground floor and then selecting all the other floors, Control Shift up to the 10th floor, copy. That will then copy all of your ductwork runs up through the building. So if we level upstairs, we then see that we've got our copied services. Notice the connections aren't connected. You have to connect those in yourself. So what we would do first of all, we need to take a look at the last system we were putting in and making sure that the duct groups are conducive to putting a main run in. So if I go into the edit menu and select duct groups, you can see here the final connection is still the default because the last thing that we were doing was putting in final connections in this case. So what you don't want to happen is to put a small final connection in with a velocity restriction and for the program to tell you it's too small. So we have to change the duct group. So that's something you have to be mindful of when putting these main connections in. What we would then do is go to the insert menu, decide which system. So I'm selecting extract, selecting the duct run, connecting into the system, double clicking. Same with the supply. Then you would just display calculate as normal. Doing the supply system, selecting the extract system, and of course in display options you've got the ability to show your ductwork physical dimensions to make sure it fits in the riser. There are checks and balances in place to make sure that the services you are copying upstairs are sized correctly. So if you imagine you're looking at the heating as your basis of your calculations on the ground floor and you have a ground floor exposed floor plate, if you're copying that upstairs, obviously there's going to be a modicum of oversizing because the losses upstairs will be slightly less because you only have an external wall. So there are checks and balances in place. Likewise with cooling, if the basis was cooling and you travel up through the building, the lower room or the lower spaces may be in shade, upper spaces may not be. So there may be a modicum of undersizing. So we have checks and balances in place.